Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live Manchester United news and transfer news show. And actually a fair bit of transfer news today. And considering he didn't lose yesterday, we normally don't get transfer news because it's normally a PR spin. So considering there's transfer news coming out still after a win, means it's not PR spin. So that's brilliant. Gakpo to United in January. We're going to get into that. It seems that Gakpo is definitely set to leave PSV in January. And Tier 1 source David Ornstein confirmed he is not going to go to Leeds United. He wants Man United, Real Madrid, a bigger club. He almost went to United. He will leave PSV in January. We're going to get right into that. Man United also opening talks with De Jong again. According to Miguel Delaney and another journalist, which I can't remember the name, Man United open talks with Frenkie de Jong again over a potential move. Oh my God. I mean, look, we have to take the de Jong story with a pinch of salt, but I ain't ready for de Jong saga 2. I'm not ready at all. I also want to talk about Ten Hag's new changes. Ten Hag's making some big changes at Manchester United, some rule changes, some leaks that have come out about how the Man United squad love Ten Hag. I've got loads and loads of things. Then obviously news coming out that CODY Gakpo is no longer keen on a move to Leeds. The 23-year-old is hoping to join a bigger club following interest from United. Is exactly the news as Kelvin said, which we're going to get into, and we'll talk a little bit about yesterday's game. Let me know your thoughts on yesterday's game, guys, against Everton and all of that. But I want to talk about like the morale of the squad and the change of the squad and all of that, as well as the transfer news and also what Ten Hag's come out to about Casemiro. Ten Hag's come out and said some really interesting things regarding Casemiro to United that I do want to get into. But as you can see on the screen, I really love this. So Zahea posts on Instagram here, as you can see, top resilience and victory for the team. Tough stadiums to play, but the spirit of the group was shown. And Lisandro Martinez just replies to this, "You're so good, bitch." Like, I love the attitude right now in the United dressing room. And I want to get into something Ten Hag said where, you know, Man City was a setback. It was shit versus Man City. But he said, what my team have done is they've gone and responded this week. The togetherness and the character they show, they've gone and responded this week. I was fuming after Man City. I thought nothing has changed. 4-0 down half time, we've gone back. And they've responded versus Everton. Ten Hag said, look, when we've gone 1-0 down, we haven't managed to respond. Twice in a week, we've gone 1-0 down and ended up winning the game. My team are responding. My team is showing character. There's a building character. And there's obviously this love of Martinez, you're also a good bitch. I mean, the Antony and Ronaldo celebration was absolutely lovely as well. So I just quickly wanted to talk about that before I do go ahead and get into the transfer news, get into the news stories as well. Ronaldo's 700th goal, but remember, he disrupts the dressing room, people. Ronaldo causes issue in the dressing room. Oh, come on, fuck off. Like, it's so obvious everyone, like, gets on with Ronaldo and he's not an issue, and it's the media trying to paint it out. Everyone had a little party for them. So we'll just throw that out as well. But we will get into the news. We will get into the leaks, Ronaldo and all of that. But I really do like this picture, guys. I don't know why. I really do like this picture. But let's get into the news as well. But the Lisandro tweet, you've got to love the Lisandro tweet as well. But yeah, good tactics from Ten Hag, putting Varane on last minute. Needed him as well, 100%. Those last 10 minutes of that Everton game was shaky. The Man United players came out and said the first half was really good. We were really happy with the first half. The second half was all right, but the last 10 minutes of the second half was worrying. You know, thank God we had Varane, thank God we had Casemiro and all of that as well. I'm going to have to time out someone here in the chat just because, you know, being annoying. But anyway, if we get Frenkie de Jong or Bellingham, then Donny will leave, says Manish. So I want to talk about Frenkie de Jong and Bellingham because they are the two players that Man United are linked to quite heavily, Bellingham. So it was kind of said, and I'm going to get into the exact report, that Manchester United will either sign Frenkie de Jong or Bellingham. The early reports coming out was saying United will either look to sign Frenkie de Jong or Bellingham come the summer. Bellingham seems to have more interest than Frenkie de Jong, with Liverpool, Man City and Real Madrid all keeping an eye on Bellingham. However, Frenkie de Jong is obviously Ten Hag's number one target, but there's still that away situation. They said that, you know, while Ten Hag loves Frenkie de Jong is the dream signing, and Frenkie de Jong is literally the profile and everything that ERIK Ten Hag is looking for. They made that very clear. They did say with de Jong, you know, with Bellingham, this is a player that United know could be in their midfield for 2 years. And what United seem to really like about Bellingham is knowing that this player could actually be in the midfield for 2 whole years, have a massive impact for 2 whole years at Manchester United. And I'm going to get into that in literally just a second as well. I think Frenkie de Jong and Jude Bellingham are the two players we're in for next year. And I think we could more likely get De Jong than Jude Bellingham. But let me know in the chat, actually. Let's do a poll. Let's go do a poll quickly. And then I'm going to get into, because I like doing a poll on the channel. So let me just pause that here. We're going to ask you guys about Frenkie de Jong or Bellingham. If YouTube's not letting me do a poll. Apparently I can't do it. There we go. Which one? You can only sign one in the summer. Would you get Bellingham or De Jong? I don't know. Like, it's a tough one. So I want to see your guys' opinion, and we'll talk about that. So I'll put that up there in the chat for you guys to go and engage with. Proper poll there as well. But like, I love the Ronaldo Antony celebration. It was absolutely lovely. And someone said something I wanted to read out if I can find it. Someone said something as well. I kind of doubt getting Bellingham, and this is what's it. Mo Millie, whatever your name is, said, even though we went 1-0 down, I had a good feeling about the Everton game. I was nervous we went 1-0 down because we've not responded well from going 1-0 down, but I think the way that we responded was very this. And at this point, I don't care about De Jong. Would rather Jude, but the price is very high. A lot of people saying Jude, and a lot of people seem to be going for Jude Bellingham. However, he could go to Liverpool as a Henderson replacement, much as I hate the thought. There's a situation going on with Jordan Henderson because I don't know what's going on. He's either being unfairly cancelled and hasn't done anything, or everyone's making assumptions, or he said something racist. So Liverpool are in a bit of a shit show right now. Diaz is injured. Henderson, I'm not sure what's going on as well with that. But I'm not going to comment on that until I know the facts. But if Henderson had said something racist against Arsenal, then most definitely, get rid, even though he's not a United player. But you know what I mean as well. And Jamal Musiala, he's a baller. He is an absolute baller as well. But I want to get into what Ten Hag did say about the match and the mentality of United players. But let's go right in and talk about the transfer news. So I'm going to get them all up on the screen now so you guys are aware of it as well. So it first came out about Manchester United is still in contact with CODY Gakpo. So despite, let me paste that here for you guys to see. So despite news going about that United are kind of ended interest in CODY Gakpo and all that, it was said by Jack Talbot that United are still in contact with CODY Gakpo. We know what happened with CODY Gakpo, and you know what? Do you know what really annoyed me? Someone was like, "Oh, Alice, you're making this up." Someone's tried to accuse me of making transfer news up. I always get like a quote from Twitter or a journalist or somewhere to back up what I'm saying 99% of the time. So I'm saying that it's come from somewhere. But someone said, "Oh, you don't know what's going on with Gakpo." No one knows if we're going to get Gakpo or not. But what I'm saying is, what we do know for fact, is United want to Gakpo. Ten Hag wanted Gakpo. Ten Hag really wanted CODY Gakpo. And CODY Gakpo, fact, confirmed by Tier 1 sources, had agreed personal terms with United in August. CODY Gakpo was ready to join Man United, had agreed personal terms with Man United in August and expected to come. In September, after the transfer window closes, even though CODY Gakpo is still at PSV, he came out publicly and spoke that he was disappointed that he didn't get his move to United and that he expected he would have been at United, CODY Gakpo. So we know come September, Gakpo was upset he didn't get the summer move to United, came up publicly, said he thought he was getting a summer move to Man United, la-di-la-di-la. We know from Fabrizio Romano that CODY Gakpo is available in January. PSV will sell in January for £30 million, and CODY Gakpo to United in January is probably the most possible deal via Romano because he actually knows that CODY Gakpo is for sale. The question is, will United buy Gakpo in January? Ten Hag wants Gakpo. Gakpo wants Man United. Man United want to spend money on dividends, not another attacker, because we have an incompetent board. Leeds want Gakpo. Gakpo said no, he wants better. Apparently, the report that he agreed personal terms with Leeds is false. So it's also coming out now from Jacob Talbot that Man United is still in contact with Gakpo. So although we didn't get Gakpo in summer, he's saying we're still in talks with Gakpo. We're still in contact with Gakpo. United will be looking to do something with Gakpo. And there's even reports saying that we are still in contact with Frenkie de Jong, which I will get into in a second. So the way I really look at this is I go, Gakpo is going to be an interesting one. He's going to be on the move in January. If Man United had owners like Man City, I'd be 100% sure we get Gakpo. I'd be 100% sure we get Gakpo if I trusted our owners to spend money. I think Ten Hag wants him. I think Gakpo wants the move. I think we would have got him, but it depends what we do with our owners. It is my general thought process on CODY Gakpo to United. I'm going to get into the next story where David Ornstein said Gakpo to Leeds is currently unlikely. I will get this up to show you guys here. And this was come, obviously, David Ornstein. We all know who David Ornstein is. He said Gakpo moving to Leeds is kind of likely. And then, as someone said at the start of the live stream, David Ornstein and The Athletic, tier 1 source of information, also continued up by saying that Leeds United have been made aware that currently CODY Gakpo is not in favour of joining them, and Real Madrid have been mentioned as a potential destination. And they're now talking about Real Madrid potentially in the race for CODY Gakpo. And the disappointing thing that comes out here by Pletigol, which again, decent source of information, again confirming Gakpo is on the move, is, oh, for fuck's sake, they don't want to show the whole thing. Come on. Well, I can't find it now, but there's no agreement for CODY Gakpo with Leeds United. The player would like to move to a bigger club, and winter transfers not included. But it was also said that CODY Gakpo would be interested in Manchester United, Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, or Bayern Munich. But United are mentioned as one of the big clubs that CODY Gakpo would be interested in joining. And for some reason, it's not coming up, even though I literally have it on my screen as well. And then Miguel Delaney, who's I think is a pinch of salt journalist, to be honest. So I would say take this with a pinch of salt. But he also said this. He said Manchester United have maintained contact with Barcelona over resurrecting the Frenkie de Jong deal in future, but have made the decision, but may have to make a decision over pursuing the Dutch midfielder Bellingham. So we've been told today that United is still in contact with Gakpo and with Frenkie de Jong. They're still remaining in contact. They're still interested in those players over a potential January and summer move. CODY Gakpo would be a January move. Frenkie de Jong, I'm certain, would be a summer move. And that United are really keeping an eye on the situation. And that obviously it's a decision between Jude Bellingham and de Jong. And as I said, what's being reported is that Jude Bellingham, if we get top 4, what I believe from what is being reported and making assumptions just based off general knowledge is, if we get top 4 and Liverpool don't, and as things stand, we might finish above Liverpool this season, I think United have got a significant chance of getting Jude Bellingham and making that long-term part of the project. I think it's between United and Liverpool and potentially Real Madrid, but I see him coming back to England. And I think if we get top 4 and Liverpool don't, I think we probably get Jude Bellingham. We let Frenkie de Jong go. However, I think if Jude Bellingham goes to City or Liverpool or Real Madrid, I think United will end up getting Frenkie de Jong. And I do think Frenkie de Jong not playing loads and loads for Barcelona. They still want him gone. I really hope Barcelona drop into the Europa League and we can see Frenkie in the Europa League. But I do think, Frenkie de Jong in the summer, I hate it because I'm fed up of Frenkie de Jong. It's like, honestly, I only want to hear about Frenkie de Jong to United unless it's a fucking done deal. But I think Frenkie de Jong, I still believe that we will sign Frenkie de Jong and he will be a United player one day. And people call me crazy, like, Alice, get over it. No, I still believe that Frenkie de Jong for me is probably more likely. But I think a lot of it depends on how we do in the league, where we finish, and all of that as well. And a lot of people saying that we won't get Gakpo. I mean, it depends on the board. I don't think the board want to spend money in January. I don't trust the Man United board, and I don't think they do want to spend money in January. And I think Gakpo wants to come, and I think Ten Hag wants Gakpo. And I would never rule out Gakpo to United because Fabrizio Romano said, do not rule out Gakpo to United. There really could be something in it. But we know the board don't want to spend in January as well. We need King Min Jae centre back. Man United are reportedly interested in triggering his release clause come the summer as a potential Maguire replacement because Maguire is quite likely to leave United in the summer if things don't change, remember as well. Calvin Phillips to City to done move. I'm going to judge that move at the end of the season just because he's been injured and all of that. And we want players who want to play for the batch. Antony, you can see he gives 100%. Absolutely spot on. I love how Ten Hag came out and he spoke about Antony's character, Antony's personality. Like, when Antony gets on that pitch for United, you can tell that he is living his dream. You can tell that Antony is on that pitch for United and he's given 100%. And what I loved about Antony is he scored 3 goals in 3 games, got more goals than Mo Salah in the league, but that's going to do a lot for his confidence. When you're a £100 million signing, you've got to score early on or it gets to you. He scored 3 goals in 3 games, he's buzzing, he's confident. But you just see with Antony, he's got so much to give, so much to offer. And Ten Hag's saying, no, this isn't the Antony I know. Antony's not even at his best yet. And Ten Hag said, what I love about Antony is like he feels, and we haven't had this for a while at United, but I feel like a lot of Man United players, and I'll go on full screen for this, and then I will get back into the transfer news. But I feel like right now, a lot of Man United players almost take putting on that Man United shirt for granted. I feel like there's a lot of players at United that I think Ten Hag is slowly trying to get rid of and completely change this culture where, you know, they didn't want to be at United and they're putting on a shirt like it's a problem. Like I felt last season when Paul Pogba, Jesse Lingard, Dean Henderson, Bailly, and even certain United players like Wan-Bissaka, you know, even certain United players that were causing problems reportedly. And even someone like Martial last season, I do feel when they put on a United shirt, they were putting on a shirt that they probably didn't want to wear. There was a lot of players last season. Rashford, you could even say, you know, Maguire. You know, there was a lot of players last season that I felt when they were putting on the Man United shirt, they didn't want to wear it. And they'd almost forgot that this is this Man United shirt. This shirt was worn by your Cantonas, your Roy Keanes, your Duncan Edwards. You know, people who thought I was born that are legends of this club. Your Ronaldos, your Rooneys, you know, so many icons wore this United shirt, and I felt last season, and some players even this season, when they put on the Man United shirt, they forget they're wearing a Man United shirt. They forget they're representing this historic club, and they almost feel like they deserve better than United. I felt that some of the players' mentality and attitude at United was, we deserve better. You know, I could be playing for a much better side than United. I'm putting on the shirt. The fans should be thanking me that I play for this club. And I hated that. I felt like there was an arrogance with some players where they would put on the shirt and they would just felt like, yeah, they could be doing better than the shirt. They didn't appreciate the shirt they wore. You know, if you're doing something that millions of people dream of, playing for United is millions, hundreds of millions of people's dreams, and you put on that United shirt and you don't care. You're like, oh, I don't like this shirt. I don't want to be here. And what I love about Antony is you see when Antony puts on that shirt, he is like, fuck, this is my dream. I'm living my dream. Antony came from a poor background in Brazil. Antony's background in Brazil was much poorer. And you see him putting on this shirt and you're like, this kid is actually living the dreams he had when he was 5'6", and he's thinking, oh my God, I'm here. I'm in my dream. I will do everything for this. Like he's almost fighting for that shirt, fighting for that badge. And you can see that with certain United players as well. You can see Antony just feels so grateful to be wearing the shirt. And it's so nice for United to sign a player where they've not come for big wages. They've not come because they've kind of been forced to come. He's come because he wants to wear this Man United shirt. He wants to put on this Man United shirt. This Man United shirt has some importance to him. He is like putting on that shirt like he's living his dream. And I love that in Antony. And I love that I can see certain United players now putting on that shirt and really realising what the badge of United means. Really realising, I play for United. This is the badge of Man United. I've got to go and give it my all. Like they're putting on the United shirt and they're like this is an honour. And I think in the past, the United shirt's not been seen as an honour. It's just been seen as, oh, it's United, stinky club, la, la, la. It's like Ten Hag's trying to instill this thing of, oh, this is an honour to be wearing this shirt. You are wearing this shirt. This is people's dreams. This is an honour. And that's what I really like as well. But guys, please do smash that like button. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new as well. Sleeping Bear says we need a striker in January because Martial has injury problems and Ronaldo can't play twice a week. 100% need to be going in for Gakpo as well. You can always find a player in the forward position, but I don't think we will be shopping this winter. Exactly. We will go back into the January transfer talk as well. And Martinez plays for the batch too. You see, just like Antony with Lisandro Martinez, he's got that personality of like when you see Lisandro Martinez playing for Man United, you look at Lisandro Martinez and you're like, yeah, he wants to be here. He's happy to be here. He's like, I look at Lisandro Martinez and I'm like, this is a player that I can tell is just 100% gas to be at United right now. And maybe that's why Ten Hag wanted him. Maybe that's why Ten Hag wanted him, because of his personality. But the two players that Ten Hag knew from Ajax, Antony and Martinez, have probably a more elite mentality than almost anyone at United right now in terms of, you can see that they are crazy for this team, crazy for their shirt, and they've only just been here. And we're actually going to talk about Casemiro in a second. Ten Hag's come out and said some really interesting things about Casemiro, him being this new kind of leader at United and more. But I just saw this on Twitter. I do want to talk about Martial, and Ten Hag's given a bit of an update on the Martial injury situation. But Martial is injured again. Martial has only played 110 minutes in the Premier League this season and has 3 goals and 3 assists. Like Haaland can't get close. So it's a very shame that Martial is injured because he's been absolutely excellent under Ten Hag. Very, very shame Martial's been injured. And, you know, we could talk about players coming in like Martinez and Antony that, you know, when they come in and they put on that Man United shirt, you're like, these kids are dreaming. These kids are playing for the badge. But Anthony Martial, a couple months ago, was done with United. Martial was over United, done with United. He was almost finished. We were saying, Martial FC was saying, oh, we need to let Martial go. He needs to do better. He'd gone to Sofia, it had been meh. Martial and United seemed over. Martial and United seemed so over in the last few months. And Ten Hag came in and he just said, Martial, I believe in you. I want you to stay. I want you to be my number 9. And he's now gone and got 3 goals and 3 assists in 110 Premier League minutes. He's barely played, and it's a shame that Martial can't stay fit. But we're obviously talking about the new signings coming in and having an impact as well. But I can also look at it from a perspective and go, well, look at Martial. He looks like a new signing. But I do want to talk more about De Jong. I didn't even get through the De Jong story. Because there was a match yesterday, there's so much to talk about. But I didn't even get into part 2 of the De Jong story from Miguel Delaney. Miguel Delaney did say, while ERIK ten Hag still sees De Jong as an ideal midfielder for his system and virtually irreplaceable, Bellingham would essentially secure the position for the next decade and is viewed as a potential generational talent. So that again, it said that United are still in contact with De Jong, but they could be tempted by Bellingham if Bellingham is willing to go to United over Liverpool. Bellingham and De Jong. Man United wants a midfielder in the summer, a midfielder to play next to Casemiro. It's very obvious we need a midfielder in that Eriksen role, or maybe you can push Eriksen more advanced. And United want to sign either Bellingham or Frenkie de Jong if you just joined. And it was said that Bellingham has a pick of clubs. United and Liverpool are the most interested clubs, but City and Real Madrid obviously keeping an eye on it as well. So it will be a difficult one to do, and I do think it could heavily rely on Champions League qualifications for Bellingham. And the feeling in England is it's a race between Manchester United and Liverpool to sign Jude Bellingham is also what's coming out, which I'll get on the screen. So I think if we finish above Liverpool, and as things stand, we probably will, considering Diaz is out injured now until after the World Cup. Salah's been crap. Liverpool's midfield's non-existent. Arthur's been non-existent because he's injured again. I do think that we could beat Liverpool in the race to sign Jude Bellingham. I actually think, I'm going to say this now, and if I'd have said this, if someone had said I'd been saying this after we lost 4-0 to Brentford, I think I'd have said, I think, and call me deluded, clip this, do what you want, I think United are going to finish above Liverpool. And I think if we finish above Liverpool, we've got a strong chance of getting Jude Bellingham over them. I think Klopp will go, and I think Man United are going to finish above Liverpool this season. And it feels crazy that I'm saying that because a lot can change in a year. But Liverpool have been poor this season. They've been real poor. I feel like the wheels are coming off. They're raging. And they were so good last season. I think they got the last out of them last season. And I weirdly think that we could finish above Liverpool. I think Man City are going to win. Arsenal are going to come second. I think Chelsea are going to come third. I think United and Spurs will battle it out for fourth. And Liverpool come 6th. And maybe I'm deluded, but I think we could win this Bellingham race. But I think it depends because, a week ago I'm sitting here like we've been battered 6-3 by Man City. United's clearly a mess. United clearly got issues. And now a week later we win 2 games and I think we're going to get top 4. I can't make my mind up with this United side, but I really believe in Ten Hag. I really believe in the project. And I think we'll probably finish 5th if I'm being realistic behind Tottenham. But I do think we could finish above Liverpool as things stand. Like, I really feel like Ten Hag is building something here at United. I really see the signs. And I always said this, like, I know a lot of Arsenal fans that Arteta out. And I've been saying for a while, I see what Arteta's doing. Like, I see a long-term vision in Arteta. I said there's something about those young players at Arsenal. There's something about the way they're playing. There's something about the potential in that side. There's something about what Arteta's doing where I would give Arteta the time. And I feel like that with Ten Hag, I really see these slow little improvements Ten Hag's making. We can see the big mentality change in the United dressing room. We're going to get into the Casemiro article of Ten Hag making him a new dressing room leader and how Casemiro affects the dressing room and how everyone looks up to him. But I really see a slow mentality change in the dressing room. Antony and Martin as fighters. Look at Luke Shaw. The Malacia competition brought another Luke Shaw on the pitch yesterday. Luke Shaw was arguably man of the match. Luke Shaw against Everton, he was playing like a player that had one game to prove himself. He was playing like a player where it was like, if you play crap, Malacia starts next game. He was playing like a player like he had one game to prove why he should keep his place under ERIK ten Hag. And he was absolutely brilliant, Luke Shaw. I think it really brought it out. We've just got a super chat here. So just thanks for the super chat saying you're pretty. But yeah, I mean, I loved looking at the United side, and I loved saying, you know, Luke Shaw looked really good. Luke Shaw looked like he was fighting for his place, you know, looking at Luke Shaw. And it reminds me of Arsenal in the early days where, you know, all of a sudden Saka, Martinelli were coming through, Smith Rowe was coming through, Pepe had to fight for his place, Aubameyang had to fight for his place, Lacazette had to fight for his place, who were probably the underperformers the season before and a bit too comfortable. You know, certain players at Arsenal started having to fight. And not only do I see, you know, what I sort of saw in Arsenal a year ago of these young players with potential. I can see them learning. I can see them growing. I can see all the United players learning and growing. But I can see Ten Hag actually making a mentality change. The new players coming, as I said, great mentality. Delot mentality is completely changed. Like Delot just goes crazy. Like when Delot's on the pitch, you see this new ounce of passion. You see this like madman on the pitch. I generally see that with Diego Delot. I thought, like, you know, you got Martinez, obviously the fighter, but Luke Shaw literally played like, this is the one match I've got to prove myself. And I feel like that's what Ten Hag's done. Ten Hag's made it so clear to the players, the days of it being favourite FC are over. Ten Hag made it so clear to players, there's no bias. You see, he went and dropped Ronaldo and Maguire after the first big loss. The two most influential names in the dressing room, Ronaldo and Maguire, were dropped after the first loss. Ten Hag's like, there are no favourites. You got to fight. If you play well, if you win, you keep your place. If you play poor and we don't win, you lose your place. So, you know, your Molasses and you Luke Shaw battling out. You know, your Jadon Sancho, who, you know, everyone's saying is clear of Rashford, he's not been good enough. Rashford's been better. No, Sancho, sorry, you're not getting another Rashford right now. When Sancho gets a game, he's got to go. You know, Antony scoring, Rashford scoring, Martial scoring, Ronaldo's struggling to get in, Sancho's struggling to get in. You know, every single player, bar attacking midfield, has got some kind of competition where, you know, if you fuck up, you're in. Delot and Bruno have probably got it the safest because Donny and Wan-Bissaka are the only people that can do that role. And obviously Eriksen, but he prefers Eriksen deeper. And he don't like Wan-Bissaka. I feel like, you know, he really don't like Wan-Bissaka. So Delot's the only one with probably no competition. So if Delot's poor, you know, I'm not sure what Ten Hag's going to do. But you can see this, what Ten Hag's trying to do and what Ten Hag's trying to change. And I do want to get into some of Ten Hag's quotes, actually, about what he had to say as well. Do you think it's a good approach, though? Yes. I think Ten Hag making it clear that if you want to play for United, you've got to fight for your place. I think Ten Hag saying to the Manchester United players, like, you play if you play well, you play on form, is brilliant, because I think the reason United got so toxic was because of everything that happened. I think the pure reason United got so toxic last season was because, you know, ERIK Bailly was sat there 100% fit, and they would rather play an injured Harry Maguire over 100% fit ERIK Bailly. And ERIK Bailly was sat there like, well, hold on, I'm 100% fit. Why would you play Maguire over me? You know, Dean Henderson was told by Ollie, stay, you're going to play, and never played. Donny van de Beek was told by Ollie, you're going to play. Jesse Lingard was about to move to West Ham. Ollie said, stay, you're going to play. Lingard was like, well, like, Man United's my dream club. And, you know, because Lingard and Bailly and Van der Beek and Dean Henderson, all these players that were promised game time by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, promised by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that they were going to play and be a prominent figure that season, never played. And it wasn't like they were never playing because the first team players were so good they couldn't get in the team. They weren't playing, and the people that were playing instead of them were being so crap and never being dropped. That's what caused the leaks. That's what caused them to turn on the manager. That's what caused a large percentage of the problems at Man United. That's what really got the problems started at Man United. And Ten Hag knew that was one of the brunt of the problems, because Ten Hag, after the Brentford loss, remember this, Ten Hag, right after the Brentford loss, had a meeting with the Manchester United players, called a meeting with the Man United players right after the Brentford loss, and said, I need to know what the problem is. I need to get to the bottom and figure out what the problem is at this club. We've lost 4-0 to Brentford. Ten Hag said to the players, if you've got a problem, tell me now. If you've got a problem with me, if you've got a problem with a club, if you've got any kind of issues, what's wrong, what's annoying you, tell me now. He said, tell me now, I'll tell you my problem and you tell me your problem. I want to be on the same page about everything. And the players expressed their fear that the same players were going to play. The players expressed that they were angry under Ollie, that there was favouritism, there was a bias. ERIK Bailly said there was an English bias. The players expressed that to Ten Hag, and Ten Hag said to the players, and he made it clear to United players, I will play you if I think you've been good enough and you deserve to play. And the next game he drops Ronaldo, Fred, and Maguire, who were three people that were undroppable under Ollie. Ten Hag is like, if you play, and you play well, you keep your place. And Ten Hag said, look, and he said this to the Donnies. He said this to Malassias. He'll say this to the Luke Shaws right now. He'll say this to a lot of United players like the Freds who can't get in the lineup now. Ten Hag has said to United players, and Donny basically confirmed this, you know, you're going to get a chance. There's a game every 3 days. You are going to get a chance. If you take that chance, you can break into the main Premier League squad. People will get chances. Luke Shaw took his chance in Europa League, had a Premier League game, took his chance, will probably keep his place. Varane got his chance, played well, kept his place. Maguire got kept out of the squad. Martial has, every time Martial's played, which is barely anything because he's always injured, he's played well. So he's ultimately stayed in the squad. So, Ten Hag's made that clear. He wants to get rid of the toxicity. He's saying dressing room leaks, you're exiled. If you're late for training, if you're late for team meetings, you don't play. He's put the discipline in. And what I liked was Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes came out and said the discipline that Ten Hag's brought is important. United needed that last season. Bruno basically said United was an absolute mess this season and we were crying out for discipline. We massively needed discipline. And Bruno basically said Ten Hag's brought the discipline that we need by saying, look, if you're late, you don't get in the lineup. You can't walk around me. You can't leak. You can't be late. You can't have a bad attitude. We know from every single source Ten Hag hates unprofessionalism. If you don't give 100%, if you're unprofessional under Ten Hag, that's it. You are gone. Ten Hag is changing the culture of you've got to be professional. You've got to work hard. You've got to give it your all. You've got to understand what it's like to be at United. You're going to be strict. You can't be late. You can't be unprofessional. But also, if you play and you're not good enough, just because you're a £100 million signing, doesn't mean you're going to keep your place. Ten Hag's made it very clear he wants to change all these things at United and change the culture. And that's what I absolutely love about ERIK Ten Hag. I absolutely love his desire to just change things as well. Delot's changed. He's playing so many diagonal passes, not that accurate passes, but it's developed under Ten Hag. You can see development as well in Delot. I like that we can have these Malacia versus Shaw debates. Everyone's allowed their opinion on Malacia versus Shaw, but I like that it's such a tough one. Who do you pick, Malacia or Shaw? Who's going to be better? It's good competition as well. Bruno needs competition to get out of the comfort zone. I think Bruno and Delot are the two players with the most, the least competition, 100%. Someone said Southgate should be more like Ten Hag. Yeah, Southgate's stubborn. But I like how Ten Hag is just very much going like, if you win, I'll keep the winning team. Some people could say it's stubborn keeping a winning team. What he did versus Man City, was it stubborn? Potentially. But Ten Hag said, look, a lot of people will question why I played McTominay over Casemiro versus Man City. And Ten Hag basically said, because if I dropped McTominay, I'd be a hypocrite. Ten Hag said, yes, he's Casemiro. He's one of the most world-class DMs in the world. I can understand why people would think I'm crazy not playing Casemiro. But Ten Hag said, if I drop Scott McTominay, then I'm a hypocrite. Because I've been preaching to these players, if you play well when you win, you're very likely to keep your place. And he said that, since Casemiro had come in, McTominay had only had good games, which was true. And Casemiro had chances and he was decent, but McTominay had only been excellent since Casemiro came in. So if he'd have dropped McTominay just because he's Casemiro, Ten Hag said, you feel like it would be hypocritical because he's been preaching to his players that you're going to keep your place if you play well. It doesn't matter who your name is, who you are. And Casemiro said, Ten Hag said, if I dropped McTominay for Casemiro for the Manchester derby, I would be a hypocrite because I'm saying it doesn't matter who you are, you keep place if you play well, because McTominay didn't deserve to be dropped. Obviously, McTominay's been dropped now. Casemiro's got in the team, and you can just see that United with Casemiro in the team are 100 times better in possession, and Casemiro will keep his place. But you've got to admire the loyalty of Ten Hag, and people could call it stubborn going with the same lineup versus Man City. But Ten Hag's desperately trying to win over the United players. He's desperately trying to get them to buy into his ways because Ten Hag knows there's a problem in the dressing room with players 100% turning on managers in the past. And remember, we go back to, we lost 4-0 to Brentford and Ten Hag said to the players, I'm at fault as well as you. I'm going to do this 14-kilometre run as well as you because I'm just as at fault. Ten Hag said he'll do the 14-kilometre run as well with them because he wanted to gain the respect of his players. And Ten Hag's very big on player respect. He's very big. And one of the things he said to the players when he first came here is, you have an issue, come to me, not the media. He wants to create a circle within the United players where if there's an issue, they can all talk about it. They don't need to go to their agents. They don't need to go to the media. He wants to create a trusting circle. He goes and does the 14-kilometer run with them. The players got a lot of respect for him. He, when he says something, he says he's got to uphold it. If he says you can't, if you play well, you won't be dropped just because someone else is at a bigger name. That's what he did that with McTominay, because he wants to tell the players that he keeps his word and earn the trust of the players, because they've obviously, thrown so many players. We've thrown so many players have thrown managers under the bus in the past as well. The back four's suffering without Varane. Malacia plays better Varane, and the whole system just works like magic. I agree. Diego Dalot's still been good, but I think the last few games since Varane has been injured have been his poorest games. I think Diego Dalot is a 10 times better player when he's playing next to Rafael Varane. There's a different side of Diego Dalot when he's playing next to Rafael Varane. I think, I thought Lindelof and Martinez was decent, but Martinez and Varane, I think Varane lifts that whole back four in general as well. Guys, please do smash that like button, and of course subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you are new. If you are new to the channel, guys, I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, updates, and more. We're 40 subscribers away from 51.9k. Would love to hit 52,000 subscribers by the end of the week. We're 1,100. We're 140 subscribers away, only 40 subscribers away from 51.9k. So do subscribe if you're new, because I do watch alongs to every Manchester United game. I go live every single evening on the channel, keeping you guys up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and more. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash a like as well. We are going to get into the next stories as well. People saying, remember to get voting in the poll, De Jong or Bellingham. Will Manchester United want to get a midfielder in the summer? Number one priority target. Would you go for De Jong or Bellingham? This summer, United want a long-term Ronaldo replacement, a midfielder, and another defender, arguably a right-back. I think Ten Hag really wants Timber, Ivan Toney, and Bellingham this summer, or potentially De Jong as well. Gakpo already has 9 goals and 6 assists. He's got more than that, mate. He's got 22 goal contributions already this season as well. Musiala better than both. Musiala is a fucking baller. I agree as well. And unfortunately, Casemiro is old and he'll drop off pace and form with time. We'll definitely overpay for him for that kind of money. We could have got Casado and Tielemans. Yes, we overpaid for Casemiro, but Casemiro was a class above yesterday. I really saw with Casemiro yesterday, this is a player that is a class above. This is a player that's still got it. He's still got another 1 or 2 proper good seasons out of him. Look at Modric. He's playing in midfield for Real Madrid. He's an old age, hasn't dropped off. Some players don't drop off to the 35, 36. Fernandinho played till quite late. Modric is still playing in midfield. Thiago Silva, everyone thought he would only be at Chelsea a year. Casemiro could be good the next 3-4 seasons. And I always feel with Casemiro, he's that signing that United desperately needed. Even though he was a little bit on the older side, he's that signing United desperately needed because we've needed a CDM for years. And he might just be the CDM for the next 2 years at the beginning of the rebuild and not the long-term player, because he's not a long-term player. But, Casemiro is what we need to get us from C to B. United are at stage C, okay? We're at stage C in the rebuild. We need a player like Casemiro to get us to stage B. And then to go from stage B to stage A is when that squad is built. But players like Casemiro, they're going to get us through the next 1 or 2 years that are going to be really tough at the beginning of the rebuild. And then I think when you get to the point when United are potentially, hopefully, winning leagues, when you get to the 3rd year of the rebuild, your Casemiro's, he might be your second choice DM and a young, fresh DM comes in. But Casemiro will be the player that we desperately needed this season and next season, because we didn't have a DM at the club to just get us into progressing as a club, progressing from 6th to 4th to 3rd. And then, I think with Casemiro, he's still got another few years in him. And look, I looked at Matic play at 30 and I thought, man, the Nemanja Matic, I love him. He can only play once a week. He is a bit static, Matic. Casemiro, I said, he's not quite sharp with the Premier League tempo. I saw that. He did give the ball away sillily. But I said, Casemiro, he's got something about him where he can control games. He's got that bit about him where I was like, that first half versus Everton, one of the main reasons we were so good in possession was because of Casemiro. I said, this guy is someone that, he's not quite there yet. He needs to get Premier League sharpness. He needs to get used to the league and Ten Hag system. But I looked at this Casemiro guy and I was like, nah, this guy is it. This guy is it. And what I like about Casemiro is it's not just about ability with Casemiro. Like when I say it's not just about ability with Casemiro, I mean that he is like a mentality monster as well. He is a guy that, he's obsessed with football. he's constantly studying football. I mean, even today there was a report, I'll get it up on the screen here, by Laurie Whitwell. Even today there was a really interesting report that came out from Laurie Whitwell that said Casemiro is taking English lessons through a teacher and his family have moved over from Spain. Obviously, he would be taking English lessons, but the second bit, the second bit about what Laurie Whitwell said, which I thought was really interesting here on Casemiro, and I'm going to get up on the screen here, was he said that Casemiro has a keen interest in getting his stats sent over after games from a provider. He's constantly asked about recoveries, pass accuracy, shot passes, long passes, areas covered. You can see that like Casemiro is a player that loves football. You can see Casemiro is like a football player that loves the game, that wants to do better. He's not just a great player with a great, that's a great leader. But as we're talking about here, Ten Hag always said that Casemiro is a leader and role model in the dressing room. Ten Hag came out and said that Casemiro is that leader and role model in the United dressing room. Ten Hag's come out and said that, and I come here and we see a player that, look, he, after games, even after a good game, he wants to know his stats. He wants to do better. He reminds me of Ten Hag. Ten Hag says win is good, but not good enough. Ten Hag was like, yes, we played well versus Everton. Yes, we beat Everton 2-1, but it's not good enough yet. He wants to beat Everton 4-1, 5-1. He wants better and better. And, with Casemiro constantly after games, studying his games, looking at his stats, striving to do better. Even though I had a good game, how can I do better? Like, that for me is the mentality we need as well. I mean, I really like Casemiro, and he's like Ten Hag's leader and role model in the dressing room. All the Man United players look up to Casemiro, what he's won, but he's also, Ten Hag uses him reportedly as like a role model in the dressing room. He's a leader in the dressing room, weirdly. And obviously, McTominay is also a leader in the dressing room, but Casemiro is a leader in the dressing room where he's not loud like McTominay is or Martinez is, loud and commanding in the dressing room. Casemiro is the leader in the dressing room in the sense of the role model, that the ones that people look up to. Gakpo is better than Sancho, faster and works harder, says Marcus Bass. If you have just joined the live stream, we're talking about Gakpo and De Jong to Manchester United. Manchester United back in talks, back in contact with both Gakpo and De Jong. We were speaking about that earlier in the live stream. De Jong is someone United will go for in the summer. Ten Hag wants either De Jong or Bellingham in the summer, but Gakpo is a potential January move that could happen. United, apparently, according to Jack Talbot, are still in contact with Gakpo, still in talks to Gakpo over a potential January move. We know that the player wants to move to United. We know Ten Hag wants the player to move to United. It's dependent, really, on if the Glazers want to go and actually figure out their finances and give Ten Hag a bit of money. So, it's all down to the Glazers, unfortunately, as well. A lot of people like Musiala in the chat here today as well. Alice, don't you think Harry Kane should be our priority? Honest, he's underrated. He is. He's a little bit on the old expensive side, but I mean, Harry Kane is, for me, is an absolutely incredible striker as well. Gakpo has 3 goals and 2 assists in Holland's last 3 games against Belgium, Poland, and Wales as well. It's not just that he's in a bad league, he's scoring goals all over the world. And look at Antony. Antony at this rate is going to have more goals before Christmas in the Premier League than he got in the Eredivisie last season as well. And Gakpo has the same mentality of Antony. He'll play for the shirt, which is absolutely what I love. I really hope we do get Gakpo in January, but I generally think it depends on if Ten Hag can get those board to spend in January. Ten Hag does want players to come in January. Ten Hag wants January reinforcements. He said that publicly. We'll look in January. But we know Murta came out and said, we're saving our funds for the summer. So I think Ten Hag, it's, with Gakpo, Ten Hag will want him and Gakpo want the move. It's, can Ten Hag convince the board to put that 30 million down on CODY Gakpo? If I was Ten Hag, I'd say to United board, look at the 20 million you could have got Haaland for, you missed out on him. Look at Julian Alvarez thriving at Man City for 17 million, you missed out on him. Look at Moises Caicedo for 4 million at Brighton, you missed out on him. If I was Ten Hag, I'd say to the United board, we miss out on so many hidden gems because we're not looking in the January market to sign people. If I was Ten Hag, that's what I say to United board. I say we're missing out on too many key players because of our approach. And hopefully we do go in January. I know the board don't want to spend, but hopefully Ten Hag can convince the board to go out there and spend money in January and invest in January, because I think that United really do need that. I just got a super chat that I'm going to scroll down to. I said it before and I'll say it again. CR700 needs to lure João Felix to United. Could do the club favour in future. We do need a long-term 9 in there. I like João Felix, but I don't know if he's a bit on the overrated side. I haven't seen him enough to really cloud judgment of him, because I do think there's a good player in João Felix, and I actually think Atletico is the reason he's potentially struggling. Thank you, Tumba Reed, for the super chat. We don't want Harry Kane. We need a young striker. My ideal choice would be Osimhen of Napoli. There's about 3-4 Napoli players I really like. Harry Kane's a bit of a Casemiro signing, but, he's a top player still. Sayings in the chat. Alice, did you see our masterclass against Liverpool and who is top of the league? Same. Look, you did play well versus Liverpool. VAR was a bit iffy though, saying, and you can admit that. But I have to say, Martinelli was incredibly good. Martinelli really impressed me. I thought Ben White's been quite good lately, and obviously Saliba good as always. So fair play to Arsenal, Zayn. I'll be honest, I am fucking salty. Arsenal doing really well, but Man City will still win the league, Zayn. I tell you this, you don't have the depth. You're doing well, but City will win the league. But the credit where credit is due. We were just talking about Arsenal 5 minutes ago, Zayn, and I always said I could somewhat see what Arteta was doing, as much as I like to banter Arsenal. But big up Zayn in the chat. Thanks for the super chat people as well. Victor Osimhen could be a good option for you. He's smashing it at Napoli. He really is. Napoli have got some really interesting players. Now, I'm someone that doesn't watch much football outside the Premier League. I only watch the Premier League, the Champions League, the Europa League. But I have to say, the Serie A looking exciting. Like right now, Prem's the best league for me. Serie A really exciting. Like AC and Napoli, they've got some good sides in there. Juventus are just fucking shit at the moment. Juventus are like the Uniteds now. Serie A's getting a real exciting league at the moment. They've got some great talents in there. League One's the worst league. It's dead. Bundesliga's a league where it's dead again, but they've got some decent young talents in there. La Liga's got the big clubs in there, but the best is the Premier League. The second best league, in my opinion, right now, it is Serie A. Arsenal have good versatility. They do. Arsenal got handled by VAR. I thought the thing that annoyed me with VAR is the lack of consistency. You know, Rashford's handball, but Gabriel isn't. You look at it and you think, what? Imagine if Harry Maguire and Ronaldo got sold to Chelsea and Maguire was made captain. The thing is, Maguire and Ronaldo have both been linked to Chelsea. I don't think under Potter, Maguire would go to Chelsea, but I think under Tuchel, I could see him. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with Ronaldo and Chelsea. I think if Ronaldo continues to play for United, if Ronaldo starts to get game time for United, I will see him staying. But if Ronaldo's still sitting on the bench a lot come January, it's literally been said and confirmed. If Ronaldo's sitting on the bench a fair bit come January, he will look to move. There was this report that came out, but it wasn't from a reliable source, so do keep it with a pinch of salt. There was a report that did come out saying something along the lines of Ronaldo's got a pre-agreement with Todd Boehly to go to Chelsea in January, but it was one of them iffy reports that I would massively take with a pinch of salt. But you know, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think, if I'll be honest, I don't think anyone leaves in January, and I don't think anyone comes in. But I know Ten Hag wants Gakpo. I know Ten Hag wants January reinforcements. Like Ten Hag wants January reinforcements, but you just can't. Unfortunately, I hate saying this, but you just can't trust that United board to go and get Ten Hag what he wants. You really can't trust that United board. You just don't know what the United board's going to do, which is such a shame. Guys, keep smashing that like button, and of course, subscribe down below if you're new. 35 subscribers away from 51.9k. Got over 400 people watching, so do subscribe as well. Tell me in the chat, everybody watching, what striker would you want at United? Would you go for Harry Kane, Ivan Toney, Victor Osimhen, Vlahovic? You know, who in the chat? Let me know in the chat. If you could bring a striker to United, like who would you bring in right now? Daniel said Andre Silva, Juventus at 8th and about to drop to Europa. They could sell Vlahovic for much less than 100 million, potentially, but I think considering he's just gone, they won't want to, but he's an absolute baller. My plans are for Phil Jones and Tom Eaton out, and Gakpo in. I mean, that would be nice, but unfortunately, the United don't think well. Leao, honestly, Leao, he is sensational. What is it about the talents in the Serie A right now as well? Someone said Morata, Osimhen, Sesko. A lot of people still in Sesko as well. Kane, Vlahovic, Felix, Toney. Yeah, let me know in the chat what kind of strikers would you be looking to bring in as well. I do want to get into one or two more reports quickly as well. So I want to quickly talk about what Ten Hag said after the match, which I really liked this, and I think this is I think you guys might find this quite interesting. Ten Hag, if you look into Ten Hag's post-match reaction, but if we go here, so Ten Hag actually spoke about, you know, United and setbacks, the mentality side in football, dealing with setbacks. Found it really, really interesting. And one of the things that Ten Hag came out and said after the match was, he said, the reaction from the team after going down was good. That was one of our aims, to deal with setbacks. United in the past have gone 1-0 down, the mentality's dropped, the players don't believe in themselves, and we went 4-0 down to Brentford at half-time. We went 4-0 down to Man City at half-time. We should have been 4-0 down to Brighton at half-time. That when we go 1-0 down, there was like a lack of the belief the players would drop. And one of the things Ten Hag's been working on so much at United is when we go 1-0 down, like, let's not make this go 2-0 down, 3-0 down. Let's go 1-0 down and respond. We go 1-0 down, we shake. It's like we're all shaken up, and United don't respond. And Ten Hag wants to create this thing where he wants United to respond to going 1-0 down. And Ten Hag said, look, I'm really happy. It's a long time since Manchester United came back from a setback, a goal to win a game. That's good for belief in what this team can do. And Ten Hag said this game isn't only important because United won the game against Everton. It's only important because we played well, but it's important because it will help with that mentality side of the sport, where Ten Hag's basically saying, we look to the team. We went a goal down, and then we absolutely dominated the game, won the game 2-1. And Ten Hag said, look, it should have been 3-1. Rashford's goal should have been ruled out. And he can now use that when we go in 1-0 down against another team, maybe at half time, or we go 1-0 down to another team early in the game. The players can look to this Everton game and went, look, we went 1-0 down within 5 minutes, but we did that against Everton, dominated the game, deserved to win. You know, there was a mentality issue when we 1-0 down, we'd go 2-0 down, 3-0 down. They'd almost give up. And Ten Hag's saying that is really important because now we've gone 1-0 down. We can use this as an example, and you can see that the team has something to believe in. He said that, you know, we were 1-0 down quickly, but the reaction of the team was good. One of our aims was to deal better with setbacks and stay composed and play out the game. And this was quite impressive from our side. And he said he's really impressed by that. And then he went on to talk about the first half, saying that we were pressing well. He said that Everton did not come out and it was difficult for them to get a lot of crosses in. We didn't allow them to do that, which I'm happy about. And Ten Hag said that he actually thinks that this first half versus Everton was our best of all season. And Ten Hag then spoke about Casemiro, and he said, I think Casemiro will adapt quickly. You saw it during the game, how important he is, how he grew into the game. And Ten Hag said, with Casemiro, we saw during the game how important he is. He's so composed. He's winning a lot of balls. He's also winning the ball, the goal for Ronaldo. It was a very good performance for him. And Ten Hag said, you know, Everton are 7 games unbeaten, difficult to score against one of the best defensive records, and to score 1, maybe 2, maybe technically even 3 goals against them. He's very happy with this. And he said, look, we've got Newcastle next, we've got Tottenham next, we've got Chelsea next, we've got 3 very difficult games next. And if we win 2 of the next 3 games, I'll be very happy. You know, I don't think we're going to get 9 points in our next 3 games. I really don't, because of who we're playing. But if we win 2 of our next 3 games, I'll be really, really happy, because I think Everton's a bit of a test. I think, you know, Everton's a tough team, and I think those teams like Everton's and Newcastle's, where they're not a top 6 side, they're in decent form, especially Newcastle, who could probably potentially break into the top 6 this season, will be really telling of potentially the level that Manchester United are at as well. But please do keep smashing the like buttons, guys. And of course, subscribe down below if you're new. Thank you for the super sticker. Hi, Alice. Love your channel. Thank you for the support, mate, as well. People talking about Schick. But he did get 24 the goals last season as well. People saying get rid of Sancho. I don't think it's right to be saying get rid of Jadon Sancho. Look, Jadon Sancho was very good against Sheriff. Like, Jadon Sancho's had some good games this season and some poor games. Jadon Sancho just frustrating me because he's clearly lacking a bit of confidence. And I look at Jadon Sancho, and all I want is Jadon Sancho to just take on your man, Sancho. Take on your... Like, I sit there thinking, Sancho, take on your man. Do something. Take on your man. Take on your player. And he's not. And that's frustrating me a bit with Jadon Sancho. But it's still, I 100% sit here and go, Jadon Sancho is still an absolutely top player. You know, Ten Hag, you know, he's got a confidence issue. We've seen moments this season where Sancho's been a 10 out of 10, and moments this season where he's been a 2 out of 10 and quiet. With Sancho, I think it's about building consistency, finding that confidence. Can we get the best out of Sancho? But there's no doubt in my mind that Jadon Sancho is a top player and will be a top player for Manchester United. I will continue to say that as well. So I wouldn't be sitting here going Sancho out as well. Right now, Martinelli is absolutely brilliant as well. But look, I still believe there's a top player in Sancho, and I think we will see it come into the season as well. He's only 22. He's got to fight his way back into the squad. Someone did say share it. I know he's got to fight his way back into the squad. But I think when we start playing more possession-based football as well, I think potentially with Sancho, I'd like to see him in a 10 role, because I don't think this, and this is just my theory, he doesn't quite have that pace, Sancho. And because Bruno's not really got much competition in the 10 role, I'd almost like to see Antony on the right, Rashford on the left, Martial up top. And if Bruno's iffy, actually just deploy Sancho as a 10 and see how he does. Because maybe if Sancho can play on the wing, but maybe someone there could give Bruno competition. I think Bruno and Dalot are the 2 places where there's not a lot of competition as well. Someone said convert Sancho into a striker like Real Madrid did with Ronaldo. I don't think Sancho is that striker, but I think he could be a 10 or maybe a false 9. Sancho, more of a creative player potentially as well. But yeah, what do you think about the message back to Barcelona? Fair enough. That is the club he loves as well. We need to keep Sancho top. He's on top form. Do you know what annoys me is a lot of people will say after 3 or 4 games from Sancho, sell him his crap, like they were with Rashford. I said last season, look, I said Rashford was our shittest player last season. He was gone. Like a Langer was kicking him out of the team. But I always said with Rashford, there is a top player in Rashford. I said, look, guys, I rate Rashford. There's a top player in Marcus Rashford. Do not be going Trashford. I fully believe in Marcus Rashford. That's what I was saying last season. And I fully believe in Jadon Sancho. So I'm not going to turn on Jadon Sancho this season. I'm not going to turn on Rashford or Martial because I believe all 3 of them are top players. And I think we will see that long term. You know, I'll stick with them through bad form. I stuck with Rashford through bad form last season. I said I wouldn't sell him. I said I like Rashford and he's been good again. And I believe we'll see the same with Jadon Sancho, in my personal opinion. People turning on Jadon Sancho now, I say, look, we see aspects for United. We've seen games where Sancho is a baller. And, you know, we saw aspects of Sancho at Dortmund. And I think if Ten Hag will be the manager to get the best out of Sancho, I think there's a confidence issue. And the problem with Sancho is he's not taking on his man. He's not running at people. And that's what he needs to do. He's playing it too safe. He's almost the opposite of Rashford, but he's got that no confidence as well. And Sancho's very, very good player. And I think he's had some good games this season as well. I don't think he's been awful as well. But look, guys, I'm probably going to wrap up today's live stream as well. So please do smash that like button on the way out and subscribe down below as well. And share the video. Optimus says we need to play a 4-1-3-2 with Ronaldo or Rashford, Martial and Sancho and Antony on the right. And Casemiro is the connector. Donny Eriksson. We also need Ten Hag ball. I'd love to see a midfield 3 of Casemiro, Donny Eriksson. I agree. A lot of people. What's the poll results actually? Before I end the live stream, what's the poll results? Is it in favour of Bellingham or De Jong? If someone wants to put the percentages in there. But also, let's go for 400 likes, 400 people watching. So if everybody right now smashes that like button, it's completely free. It'll be brilliant as well. And all the top clubs in Europe would want Rashford if it was for sale. Arsenal are a big fan of Rashford. And the thing about Rashford is he gets goals and assists. You know, it's not all about goals and assists. Obviously, it's the eye test and all of that. But you know, with Rashford, he can get you a goal. He can get you assists and all of that as well. There's some players that are really good, like Jack Grealish, that wasn't getting the numbers. I know it's not been great lately. There's you need a player that's good, but also sort of gets the numbers because that's what wins you games as well. But 55% of you are taking Bellingham over De Jong. So fair enough. Smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe down below if you're new. There should be a video out about 11 a.m. UK time tomorrow. And then there will be a live stream about 6 p.m. UK time tomorrow. So we'll be back about 6 p.m. tomorrow, a little bit earlier because Champions League want to finish before the games and all of that. So smash a like, smash the subscribe. See you next time. Thanks for watching.